The level of friction or the ease of access to things like gambling is just so small now. You can literally just end up on these things by coincidence or by accident, or by the fact that advertisers like have enough of a profile on you to know, like, okay, you're a male between these ages, let's push you gambling ads and it'll probably work. And then entice people in with things like, oh, your first bet or your first 5 bets are free. And then people think, oh, this is low risk, and then gets into it. And yeah, online gambling is now recognized as a growing public health concern, largely because of that ease of access. Again, those ads that, there was no effort on your part to view this content at all. You don't need to like go drive to a casino and go to a slot machine, and then there's just no effort required. It's just on your phone that you're already on. And this has crept into like those, like, we're not going to name any of them in particular, but those like bet on everything type of apps and places where people are betting on anything ranging from sports, where this kind of first started, to political events, to whether or not wars are going to happen, to whether or not it's going to rain next week, to just, it's just getting extremely out of hand. It is now becoming just a massively growing public health issue. And if we look at what the outcomes are here when it comes to online gambling, we see that online gambling isn't just more accessible in the first place, but once someone does have what would be referred to as problem gambling issues, outcomes for online gambling is also worse. People who are gambling online are 10 times more likely to exceed what are considered low risk thresholds for how much they're betting and like how often and all that kind of stuff. People who engage in online gambling are 45 times more likely to meet the criteria of problem gambling, and they are 21 times more likely to experience harm. So this includes, of course, the financial aspects, but also the mental well-being, the impact this has on relationships when finances are impacted by this, when there's like hiding stuff and secrecy involved in this. And another alarming stat here is that we see that young adults, 18 to 29, 32% engaged in online gambling. And of those, close to 70% of those are meeting the criteria for problem gambling. So this is worse in younger ages. These younger ages are being more targeted. These younger ages are more online and just seeing these ads more often. And the outcomes are awful in terms of mental health, finances, relationships, overall well-being. And it's just getting easier and easier and more normalized to engage in some of this.
As well, talking briefly about the explosion of these things, I can remember a time when Pete Rose, a former baseball player, was banned from being eligible for the Hall of Fame in baseball because he had bet on sports games. And now you kind of come to the modern day, and all 4 major sports professional leagues in North America have official, partnerships with different betting platforms. So it's really interesting how things have, progressed. These things are pervasive. They're across all of our major sports leagues here in North America. They all have a financial incentive to serve you these ads as well and get you into their platforms. I think a lot of them are seeing some declining viewership, at least in the NBA, to my knowledge. And this is another revenue source for them to try and, increase engagement with the sport, because nothing says excitement more like betting on the first half of a game. And in regards to some of these betting things I've seen in people that I know, they load up their account and you come in and they're not making large wagers, right? They're not making $20 bets here and there. They have a pool and they're making 30-cent bets. They're making 5-cent bets, 10-cent bets, which is not a lot in the singular. But when you aggregate this out and how it's reinforcing this behavior, it's like you can see that this money is just going. They're losing, these small micro bets, but it's normalizing the betting on all of these different things, right? These different behaviors. And then, it's kind of just spiraling into a larger issue and contributing to the broader problem at large.
Yeah. And I myself don't watch a lot of sports regularly, but if I were someone that did, I think I'd be kind of upset about this when we now have strong evidence that even players themselves are betting on certain things happening and then rigging their own games, and some are involved in just illegal gambling schemes in their own leagues. There's an NBA player who pled guilty to doing some of this stuff, I think literally yesterday or this morning. So it's just getting everywhere.
It's